Going live. Ah, there we are, and we're live. Very good. This is Leslie Rhodey with Marketing's Brain Trust, and I'm joined by my co-founder Dan Sees, and that's going to be the full crew today because we've got personal things going on with Michelle and Corey both. They cannot join us today.
Yeah, Corey had to appear for his murder trial or something. Wasn't that the deal?
That must be it. Yeah. Was he murdered or was he the murderer?
Yes, he's a witness. The victim usually doesn't testify in a murder trial, but
that's true. Usually, in the back from the grave, we could get that. But okay, so and Dan, you have a presentation prepared today.
I have a short presentation prepared today.
Okay.
Because several people have told me that these presentations are too long, and they'd like more time for questions.
Okay.
And well, I'm happy to spend less time presenting and more time actually talking to people about stuff anyway. So I think that's a win-win potentially. So what I'm going to do here is pull up my presentation and then do the screen share thing, which means everybody close your eyes for just about 3 seconds.
The Hall of Mirrors.
While we enter the Hall of Mirrors. Here we go. Start screen sharing. What?
Yeah, and that's what that looks like. And sure enough, if I keep talking, then nobody will see it until I actually present you. But, yeah.
Okay, so you're going to present me as the presenter.
Yeah. Present to everyone. All right, you're up. You're it.
Okay. So I've actually been doing a series. Well, I started a series on the blog about this, about maximizing holiday profits, and we get right. You get the same question all the time, right? What should I be doing right now as a retailer? And this is really this is focused on retailers today. But what should I be doing? What can I be doing to actually make the holiday season better? What can I do right now? Because right now the sales aren't coming in, and so right now is actually, well, we're getting, time is getting short. I would say you've got basically until Halloween to get your ship in shape and ship shape before you're starting to lose substantial amount of the opportunity that is presented to you if the holiday season means anything to you at all. So what can we do? And so I tried to boil it down to just a few simple things, and things that could be done either one, any of these things are relatively easy to outsource, and kind of we're looking at sort of increasing level of difficulty in terms of outsourcing as we go through these three. But there are also things that don't take a lot of time out of your life. If you needed to carve out a couple of extra hours to work on one of these, you should be able to work on one of these within a couple of hours. And of course, things that don't require you to bet a ton of money up front. And so let's start with shopping campaigns. Now, there's a post up on the blog from Monday. I was supposed to have another one up yesterday, but I simply ran out of day. And so because of the magic of the way our editorial calendar works, I get to publish that one tomorrow. But that one's not about shopping campaigns. The one on Monday is about shopping campaigns. So it's in the features category on the Marketer's Brain Trust site. And it's a really, really simple thing to understand. For anybody that's been around for a while and dreamed of ranking #1 for highly commercially relevant search terms, here's what you're up against now in the SEO world. And that doesn't mean that SEO isn't worthwhile, but the idea that you're going to go and grab the top spot on highly commercially relevant terms and that you're going to make a ton of money by doing that is simply not there. The way that we approach SEO these days is much more about audience building, brand building, and finding people farther up the funnel. That is, it's a lot more long tail. We're not targeting with individual long tail landing pages. But when it comes to going after high volume search queries that have commercial relevance, here's what they look like these days. This is a search result page that I picked out especially because I used to actually own this search result page. That is, there were 3 advertisers on it. I was running all 3 campaigns, and there were 10 organic search listings, and I was working with all 10 of them. And so I actually didn't have anything on the Asian Wedding Favors tea set search result page that I hadn't put there. Of course, Google doesn't really want to give it all away for free, and over time they've added more advertisers, and Well, they've brought in these shopping ads. And so, people ask me, what are shopping ads? Well, this is what shopping ads are. Shopping ads are the thing at the top of the page there, the thing that's going to get the clicks. If you've paid any attention to me over the years talking about AdWords, you know that if you want to make money as a retailer, you need to have ads that are at the top of the page, that top part of the page, well above the fold, because people that are ready to buy something tend to go ahead and click the first ad that satisfies their need to buy something, and then they buy something. And then they don't need to go back to the search result page and see who was number 9 in the ads or who was number 10 in the organic search result listings in order to buy. The money goes to the top of the page. And interestingly enough, because of the way that the Google AdWords auction works, when you see a shopping box at the top of the page, and you can go and check any of the search results that you care about, take 10 or 20 of the search results that you would have been checking for rankings and go look and tell me that there isn't probably a shopping box on the majority of them. And if there is, it's probably either at the top right or at the very top of the page, depending on what search advertisers might be bidding to get on that search result page.
Well, the other thing,
the money going?
I think it's really interesting, Dan, that it's like if you were to design a catalog page, a category page for an e-commerce website, you'd be hard pressed to do anything better than what Google has done on the shopping box.
Well, I would make the images bigger. I would probably go 3 wide across the whole screen, have much bigger product images to help my shoppers make better selections. But Google is maximizing here their revenue. And that's the reason why. And a lot of people started noticing last September that there were a heck of a lot more shopping boxes on the search result pages. And by the end of the holiday season, people were freaking out. It's like, I'm number 1 and nobody can see my organic listing, because your best case scenario when a shopping box makes it onto your search result page, this is actually a screenshot of a 768 pixel high monitor, which is, by the way, what a huge chunk of your audience is using, because a huge chunk of them are on these 16:9 widescreen, but not any taller monitors on laptops. Oh, by the way, if you're on an iPad, it's the same. It's just Retina resolution, but doubling the number of pixels doesn't double what's displayed on the screen. It just makes it sharper. There's one organic listing here.
Yeah.
And if this were an 8 box, one of the taller boxes, and they had search ads up here, there's a very good chance that there wouldn't be any organic listing at all visible above the fold. We see that all the time now, where all you see is the very tippy tips of the letters on the first organic listing. Google's not trying to give it any attention, and the reason why is because of where the money goes. And the reason why these shopping ads are showing up at the top is because that's where advertisers are making the most profit. The beauty of the way that the AdWords auction works, and I don't want to do a deep dive into that because we've done it in a number of other Hangouts, but the beauty of the way it works is that it follows the profit. All of the bids tend toward the individual advertiser's break even, because most retailers are willing to break even to acquire a new customer. And if you make money, that's great. In fact, if you know what you're doing, you can be, in a lot of cases, the only one who's making money on the shopping ads in particular, because a lot of these advertisers are just there because nobody else is doing a good job. If you see Bed Bath & Beyond and Toys R Us, or Amazon, I guarantee you that they're there because nobody else could figure out how to make money there. But that doesn't mean that nobody could, because they're not bidding all that much in general. They're doing programmatic bidding, and it's very easy to remove them. We actually did a session about a month ago about showing people in detail how to do that with their shopping campaigns. But the reason why these things are taking over the search results for retailers is because that's where the money is being made. They don't necessarily get a higher click-through rate than the search ads used to, but collectively, the number of clicks that they get is actually better than what Google could put in here. And for the advertiser, what you're looking at here is somebody who searched for something very specific, took a look at your picture, and clicked. The conversion rate on these is much higher than you would have expected from search ads, even when you were doing very well with search ads. And so the reason why those ads are there is that that's where the buyers, the people that are really motivated, the people that have their wallet out, that's where they're going. That's where they're clicking, especially when you get to very specific search terms. And one of the things that we like to do with the shopping campaigns we run for our clients is actually make sure that we move budget away from the general search terms like wedding favors or even Asian wedding favors into making sure that we actually can show up as many times as possible on a search result page like wedding favors tea set, which this is a very specific search query. They're planning to buy something. They've already decided what they want to give people. Now they just have to pick the best one.
Yeah, so they're deep in the narrow part of the funnel.
Yeah. Now, and for wedding favors, it's actually a really cool market because it's one of the few, I would say about a third of the retail markets that I've worked in, we see the vast majority of the conversions actually happen right away in the same session. That is, people say, okay, that's what I want. I click, I buy. When I was peddling groomsmen gifts once upon a day, we literally 95% of the sales happened on that very first click, on that very first session, and we didn't even have to worry about the complexity of multiple visits and things like that. For most advertisers, though, if you're going and looking at just the number that you get back, if you're using, say, the AdWords conversion pixel, and it's only measuring what came in from that last click, you're going to underestimate how much you're actually doing in sales. In fact, in some cases, you'll find an advertiser who says, holy cow, we're barely breaking even here, where in fact, they're actually making a ridiculous amount of money. This is one that I pulled for a client a little bit earlier today because they were trying to get a better handle on what's going on. And if we look at this, the two models here that we're showing, this is from the attribution modeling tool inside of Google AdWords. If you go into the conversion section in Google Analytics, you can actually go all the way to the very bottom, and it's the very last thing that they have in the menu is the attribution models. And the two that we like to look at, one is the default, that's last interaction, and that means that a person clicked the ad and they bought right there in that session. They didn't go away, they didn't come back later, they clicked the ad and bam, they bought. And in this case, that's literally less than a third of the revenue. In fact, with this particular advertiser, almost half of their sales happen at 14 days or longer from the initial contact. And so we like to use either a first interaction if you're looking at channels other than AdWords, or a last AdWords click where we know that we're just looking at people that they've come in through AdWords at some point, and almost always that means that was the first contact. Usually those numbers are exactly the same, but the conversion value here, the amount that they sold based on a last AdWords click, that is to say people that clicked on AdWords and then came back and looked at it again. In fact, the highest revenue dollar during this time period, the highest revenue dollar conversion path had 14 visits after the paid search before that person went and spent nearly $4,000 on products. 14 times they went back and looked at it, but they came in from AdWords. And when we look at the conversion value there, the amount that came in, we actually had almost $19,000 in revenue over this period that we were looking at, and that's an 830% ROAS. So ROAS means revenue over ad spend. So you take the number of dollars that you brought in, you divide that by what you spent, and of course the inverse of that is the percentage that you spent on your ads. And so if we're getting 8 times as much revenue, our actual advertising spend is around 16-17%, something like that. I'm sure there's some way that Leslie can do the math faster than I can in his head, because I use a calculator for that stuff. And so you really have to manage these campaigns. You have to be very, very careful and make sure you're understanding how you're measuring, because you don't want to get too excited about maybe your low-cost products get a faster purchase. Maybe it's a $10 product that people buy right away, and you say, okay, yeah, I should put more budget into that. When you've got $1,000 products that people might only on average buy 3 or 4 days after that first click. And if you're not paying attention to that, and if you're not actually attributing that to the campaigns and the ad groups, that you got going on, you're going to miss out on a lot, and you're going to direct budget away from things that are making you the most money, and direct budget into things that are making you the least money. Which is when our client here was looking just at the numbers that were reported back through AdWords, they were asking us why we hadn't done that, and so, well, the reason why we did this was to show them, hey, look, this is what's really going on with your campaign, and that's why we're leaving the budget where it is, because your actual profits are coming from the place where it doesn't look that good if you just look at the click and buy version of conversion. But if you actually look at the full process of making the sale, it looks a heck of a lot better for the higher priced products, the higher margin products that they were selling.
Hang on a second before you move from that slide. So last AdWords click, I mean, the title on that's a little confusing to me. So if somebody clicked an AdWords ad, I get that part, but then they then found it did some direct or some social referral or some
almost always it's direct afterwards. Yeah, and that just means that, so they clicked with AdWords, they bookmarked it, or they closed their browser and then opened it up later, and when that reopens, it doesn't reopen even though that tab is still open because they clicked an AdWords ad. It shows up as direct. And so the last AdWords click is just Google's way of assigning, if I expanded this out to all the individual ad groups and stuff like that I have in this campaign, right? The last AdWords click, it would put that revenue in whichever ad click, whichever ad
I see.
or ad that they clicked on last. So if they clicked on a shopping ad and a search ad, it would show the search ad or the shopping ad, depending on which one they click last.
Gotcha. Interesting, yeah.
And so it still says that AdWords is where you found them, but it's a way that you can not assign the revenue to two different ad groups and pretend that you made twice as much money as you actually did.
But I mean, in this case, so I mean, again, I mean, this is really squeaky the way these things work. It's really subtle sometimes. So
yes,
on last AdWords click though, was that truly the first interaction, or could they have touched organic or something else before?
They could have, but in this particular case, for all of the conversions that we're looking at, we're only looking at a couple of weeks here, right? But okay. But for all of the conversions that we're looking at, the first interaction that we had was AdWords.
Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, but that's one of the things to figure out and to look at when figuring out what reports to look at and how to look at them is to realize what these different things mean.
Yeah, so and the thing is, there's no perfect model. I mean, there's a time decay model. There's there's so many different ways to look at this. If you want to go read Avinash Kaushik's blog, he'll explain like 400 different ways that you can confuse yourself with attribution. And I mean, he's one of the people that's better at kind of helping people break down and understand what model they should be using for their business, depending on their goals and stuff like that. But for me, with especially when we're running shopping campaigns, we're trying to generate sales. It's if I can't justify it as we're making enough sales for the ad spend, I'm not going to sit there with a client and say, well, you should keep spending money on these ads because they're doing something for your brand. Because this is direct response advertising. There's stuff that you should be doing for your brand. There's stuff that you should be doing. And your SEO should be more focused on audience building and long-term leading indicators. Things that will, you had the blog post the other day about somebody doubled their traffic in a year. That sure didn't look good for the first few months if we were just saying, well, gosh, we're not driving a bunch more sales. Well, no, we're driving people to content so that we can, build an audience, get links, get social engagement, and get rankings. But with AdWords, look, this is about, if you need to start selling stuff now, and if you need to start making money right away, AdWords is a good way to get something going, and shopping campaigns are quite simply a better way to do it. Our average ROI, if we have for the retailers that we have that are running, search ads and shopping ads, and oh, by the way, they are only running search ads because they're actually getting an ROI that is positive on their search ads. But the ROI from the shopping campaigns is, on average, I looked at for the year, the full year so far this year, 1.7 times the ROI. So, if the search ads are break even, the shopping ads are ridiculously profitable. And in a lot of cases, of course, people just do the shopping ads as a starting point, and then we'll run search ads when we have search queries, keywords that come out of the shopping campaigns that, holy cow, this is really profitable. Let's run search ads too, because when you actually have, and I don't believe that, Favor Warehouse does. So these guys actually have ads in the shopping box, and they also have a search ad running along here. For everybody else here, that's in the search ads, they're not doing as well because the shopping ads are drawing more away. And of course, our friends at Kate Aspen actually have a brand ad over here that they run, and looks like they managed to somehow get Toys R Us and Bed Bath and Beyond carrying their products now, probably by having cool products. They spend more time designing their products than anybody I've ever seen with the number of products they have to build. But so this brand ad probably helps a little bit with those. But of course, they're not making any extra money on it because of the nature of the wholesale relationship. So let's see. So if really for retailers, if you're not running shopping ads, because you've never run shopping ads, run shopping ads. Spend a few bucks and test it out. And if you can get anywhere in the ballpark of breaking even, then by gosh, if you actually had somebody run them the right way, or you wanted to go and spend all the time to learn how to run it the right way yourself, there's so much profit in here. This is where the easy money went when SEO got to be a little blue box at the bottom of the page and sometimes not even on the page. This is where the money went. This is where the buyers are coming through. And so if you want to tap into the search channel as a retailer, this is the best way to do it. So, to set them up, you need to be able to get a data feed out of your store. So most of the major platforms, Magento, Shopify, BigCommerce, you name it, Yahoo stores, Don Cole can get you a shopping feed out of there. You don't want to use the one that's directly out of the Yahoo store most of the time. You have to verify the ownership of your site via Webmaster Tools, which basically just means that you have to own the site, because that's something that's very easy to do. And you have to link the Merchant Center account to AdWords, which is a fairly easy thing to do. And then you go create a campaign in AdWords, and you can literally throw all of your products into one ad group in one campaign and put a very low bid, 40, 50 cents a click or something like that, and put a little bitty budget on it, like $10 a day. And get it started and running. And if you start making some sales, well, then that tells you that you should probably actually take it more seriously and look at it as a bigger opportunity. But all of the documentation is there on Google, and it's all in about, 400 different pages of help files to help you do it. Some friends of mine, Ian Lurie and his team at Portent, actually put together a setup guide that you can go buy from them. I think they sell it for 30 or 40 bucks. It's a lead product, a tripwire offer, and what the kids are calling it these days. But they actually give you permission to give it away. So if you'd like to just get a copy of that, you can just send me an email, dan@marketersbraintrust.com, and I'll send you back a copy of that PDF, and you can get it set up yourself. If you would rather consider the possibility of us setting it up for you, you can set an appointment to talk to me about it. The short link there is seobt.co/dantheis45. That's I before E, not because of any grammar rules, but that's just how the name is spelled. seobt.co/dantheis45. You can set an appointment with me. We'll talk about it. And if you're already running shopping campaigns, do send me an email and let me know a little bit about what experience you've had. But I'm happy to look at your shopping campaigns for you. Whether you want me to run them or not, we can take a look at them. And if you don't think that I should be running them by the time we're done talking, you will at least know a lot more about how to run them yourself. But seriously, folks, this is where the money is. And so if you want to do well this holiday season, get in now. And the reason why I say you want to start running these now is that depending on the volume, it can take anywhere from 2 or 3 weeks to potentially 4 or 5 weeks under really low volume conditions. And sometimes it's as fast as a week. But for you to actually get the data back that lets you adjust your bids from an initial sort of low price bid to something that's actually more competitive, and for you to know where you're going to be competitive. And some of the data that comes in there is actually a really cool chart that they have, and I kind of cut that out as I was trying to shorten the presentation here a little bit, that shows you how much you bid and where your ads are, how many more times your ads are going to show up. And when that shows up, and usually for us, that's, again, like a week or two into running the campaigns, that's when we can really kind of kick into high gear in terms of managing them. And so, you definitely want your campaigns up and running. A week before Thanksgiving, you should have your campaigns like up and running and going and in shape to be able to react to the transaction volumes and the click data and everything that comes through. But you'd really like to have that up and running before Halloween if you can, because you will actually see people start to pick up the shopping activity there. And by the way, that's also when the conversion rates on retailers that are heavily holiday sensitive start to rise up from what are often kind of the lower off-season conversion rates, especially in the shopping campaign. So around about mid-October is when we start to see the conversion rates start to take off. And so if you're up and running by then, and you can actually adjust bids, and you don't have to bid really high those first couple of weeks to get access to that data, so you don't have to expose yourself to a whole bunch of risk early on to be able to take advantage of the rising tide. But if you don't get your boat in the water before before the tide has risen and the fleet has sailed, then you're going to miss out on a lot of profits. And this really is, if I had to choose one thing to do starting up a new store, this is the one thing that I would choose to invest my marketing budget into, is getting shopping campaigns up and running. That is if I were a retailer. Now, if I'm trying to sell mortgage leads or something like that, AdWords would probably be a good place to start, but I certainly wouldn't be doing it with shopping campaigns, because you can only use shopping campaigns if you sell stuff on the internet. So
specifically a physical product, right? I mean, you
yes.
can't, yeah, right.
Yeah. So let's talk about product descriptions, Leslie. And this is one of those things that people don't like to hear, that they should work on their product descriptions. And that's usually because the prescription when you're telling someone to work on their product descriptions is hire a copywriter to actually do a good job of writing your product descriptions. Usually. And if you have the means and you have the time and you can find good writers out there. If you don't know about Colin Terrio's Cult of Copy jobs board, you can find writers and find people to actually give them references and recommendations based on their experience. But if you have the time and the means, absolutely hire a professional to rewrite the copy. At least you can just go through your Google Analytics and which of the product pages, take the top 20, the top 30, the top 100, however many you can afford to get written, and look at the ones that are getting the most traffic, because that's where you're going to make an impact. Rewriting the product description for a product that nobody ever sees might help you get that product to show up in search results better, because a weak or non-existent product description is probably one of the reasons why it's not showing up in search results now. But if you just invest a little bit in improving the product descriptions on the products that are actually getting the most views, it's really easy to measure the impact of that when you roll live with them, because you'll see a higher percentage of people add those products to the cart. In fact, Leslie, maybe one of these days we'll talk about using content groupings and stuff like that in analytics to show people how they can take a set of pages, do work on them, and actually see the difference of just those pages in analytics. But for now, let's focus on something that shouldn't take anybody that knows how to manage their store more than about an hour. And that's just, let's focus on what your key value points are. And one of the biggest things that we've seen people do that's super easy, super quick, and makes a big impact fast, is to just restate the key points of your offer. And that's usually about, if you've got a price match guarantee, say so in every product description. If you offer free shipping on everything, or if you offer free shipping in the United States, or if you offer free shipping in their state, whatever the case might be, say so in every product description. Now, well, gosh, we've got a little image at the top of the page that says, we offer free shipping. Guess what? Remember how small the monitors are these days? They're actually smaller than they used to be in a lot of cases. In a lot of cases, when somebody's looking at your product, they've scrolled down to see your whole product description, and that thing that says free shipping that's at the top of the page isn't even visible. Put it in every product description. There are lots of easy and elegant ways to do that. Free shipping to the United States on everything is kind of wordy, but this product qualifies for free shipping, or ships same day. Whatever you have that answers what's really the biggest customer objections, say so in every product description. Don't be afraid to worry about duplicate content and all that stuff like that. Boilerplate stuff like that appears everywhere is not going to count against you, as long as you've got actual product descriptions that are written and unique. And if you don't have actual product descriptions that are written and unique, adding this to it isn't going to make the problem any worse.
It's not gonna make it worse, no.
What it will do is help you actually get more people to add things to the cart. You know, Leslie, I was at speaking at an event that called Ignite a couple weeks ago that Practical E-commerce came on. Our friend John Lawson was actually the keynote, and I've never actually seen John speak live. Holy cow. He's good. His presentation was fantastic. His presentation was more along the lines of the stuff that you and Corey focus on, which is the audience building and social aspects of selling. But one of the things, one of the presenters that was there had actually done some surveying of Amazon Prime buyers. And
interesting.
So they're asking them, you know, okay, so, and they were specifically asking their Amazon customers, and they probably broke every rule on Amazon, and I hope they didn't get kicked off of Amazon for doing it, but they were asking, you know, why do you prefer to buy on Amazon? And the one biggie that everybody goes to is the free 2-day shipping thing, right? That's why you signed up for Prime, unless you signed up for Prime to get the movies or whatever else, right? But the other thing, the second place thing, the second reason why people buy on Amazon is easy returns. And you know, a lot of retailers out there, well, you make it hard and complicated, and you're trying to discourage people from getting returns. And well, you would probably be better off making returns easy and making more sales, and still you're not going to see that many returns unless you ship defective products. Because even if all I have to do is call you on the phone and you'll print me a shipping label and I got to just slap it on the box and send it back, that's still a pain in the butt for most people. That's still enough. I mean, you can make it as easy as possible and it's still a pain in the butt. But when somebody does have to, they really don't want it to be a hassle. And so if you have an easy return policy, say so on every product description. And so, you know, some of you, your world is a little bit more complicated. Maybe you can't offer free shipping on everything. I know we work with one person that sells kung fu fighting sticks. I don't remember what those things are called. They're like bow staffs or something like that. But it's like a $10 product, but it costs them $20 to ship it because the box is 6 feet long.
Yep, that's the problem.
So their choice is to either sell a $40 bow staff, which nobody's going to believe that it costs that much, or they have to charge for shipping on those. So I think they do something like free shipping over $150. That's probably not optimal, but still, half the products in their catalog are more than $150 themselves. Well, do you have to say free shipping over $150 on a product that's over $150? No. You can say this product qualifies for free shipping or free shipping on this product. And even if you can't say anything nice about your terms, even if you're one of those just stores that I would never shop from because your terms are so onerous and horrible, unless I absolutely had to, you can at least say something like, orders placed before 4 p.m. ship the same day, or all orders ship within a week or two. Ships whenever we get around to it. Try and say something nice, right?
Whenever we get around to it. Yeah, it's probably not what you want to add on your product.
We will probably eventually ship this to you. We don't charge your credit card until we ship your product. Everybody can claim that if you're following the law, right? So, we don't charge you until your product ships is something you could say that's nice and probably would help you get more people to trust you and add stuff to the cart. But saying those things in your product description will absolutely help you get more conversions, and by helping you get more people to the cart. And from there, it's really a matter of, gosh, maybe you should improve your checkout funnel. That's another thing that I wanted to put in here, but it's not always that easy to do. So I wanted to focus on things that are quick. But find something nice to say. And look, I haven't split tested this, okay? Because everybody we've ever done this with, if you ever tried to split test all of your product descriptions, there's something that's possible but not practical most of the time, unless you're actually got somebody wrote custom code to do that for you on your platform. Because none of these normal split testing tools that we use Visual Website Optimizer and we use convert.com with clients. None of those will let us we'll split test product descriptions. Although this is one we might be able to get away with testing, Leslie, now that I think about it. But I'm not going to stretch you on that.
Yeah. No. That one
Why
was
bother? Because every
exactly.
time we've done a serial test,
Yeah.
this always does no worse and almost always better enough for us to say, oh, look at the little jump in conversion rate on the graph there. That's so cool. I'm so glad that we added stuff to our product descriptions that helps the buyer know that they're buying something from somebody that they should trust and that the terms are good for them. I mean, if people are thinking about what's the shipping going to cost when it was going to be free, don't stress their brain. Just tell them the shipping is free on this product. Okay. And here's the thing. I mean, this is not something that's all that hard because every major platform that's out there, you can do offline editing. So you can download your whole catalog as a spreadsheet. You can edit the thing and then you can upload those product descriptions again, right? If you had a copywriter write, 3,000 product descriptions, you weren't going to go and have them click in the back end web interface of Magento and stick all those product descriptions in. You were going to download a big spreadsheet. You were going to change the product descriptions from the ones that you had to the ones that they wrote, and then you were going to upload it. Well, with Excel and a little bit of Excel foo knowledge, and by that I mean if your kid took Excel in high school, they know how to append text from one field to another. You can just create a field that has your extra money copy on it, and it might be different for products that are more than a certain amount. So some might say free shipping on this product and others might say free shipping on orders over $150, and then you can just add that to the product description and upload the catalog again. How long would it take you to do that? Once you've figured out what you're going to say, it's an hour or two at the most, right? And most of you, if you've been paying attention, you've already decided more or less what you're going to say. And so this should be something that you could literally have done today. If you don't know how to
edit, it pays you forever. That's the other thing. This is one of those.
Yes, this is one of those things that will immediately improve your conversion and will continue to improve your conversion until sometime in the far future, in the heat death of the universe. It's going to pay you forever. It's money in the bank, and that means that you get compound interest on that money until you retire, which could mean the difference between going on vacation a lot when you're retired or
and just sitting in the home. Yeah.
Top ramen again this week? Darn.
Yeah.
I mean, I like ramen. I mean, it
Right,
actually,
right.
It's got enough sodium in it that it'll kill you faster, so you don't need as much for retirement. So anyway, but if you don't know how to do it, somebody does. I mean, every major platform that's out there, you can find people on Upwork, stuff like that. And of course, if you're working with us on shopping campaigns, we can probably help you find somebody that'll do it super cheap, because we know lots of people that can do this kind of stuff for you if you don't already have somebody that does it. But all the major platforms, I mean, if they're in business selling you a shopping cart to run your store on, offline editing is a possibility here. So is it worth doing? Yeah, do it. It's simple. It won't take you that long. Email promotions. Leslie, do you recommend that people send email or not?
As often as physically possible.
Okay.
So we've never found.
Leslie's a psycho. Leslie wants to mail all of your customers every 30 seconds until they opt out.
That's too much, but yeah.
I would say back off a little bit, but once a week, geez, come on. That's not.
Well, and every study on this is done. I can't remember the most recent one I looked at, but literally, going from once a month to once a week, profits went up. Going from once a week to twice a week, profits went up again. They didn't actually run into a plateau. They ran into diminishing returns at 3 or 4 times a week.
Yes. Yeah. So don't mail every hour
No.
because it's simply not worth it. And you'd have to be mailing at some point. You have to be mailing the same thing, right? Because you can't. Right, there is a cost to creating content. I mean, one of the reasons why we're now doing weekly email promotions for our content marketing clients is because, well, they've already paid, right? They've already paid money to develop content for audience building and SEO and to get more free traffic. To leverage that into a weekly email promotion that has the same stories, that helps. But the other thing that you see, if you see a retailer shift from maybe they mailed 4 times since 2010 to mailing every week, You also you don't just see more, more sales that are attributed to the email promotions directly, but you also start to see that direct category, that people that just know that you're the place that they go to and go type in your name because they know it, because they see it every week. You also see sales go up in that direct category. So it's one of those things where the tip of the iceberg, the part that you can see, is well worth getting an email out once or twice a week. But the impact that it has is far beyond what you can measure. And if you can actually go and look at attribution modeling and stuff like that and say, holy cow, half the sales from email campaigns in a lot of cases don't show up as a last click was the email. So you got to be emailing. And particularly as you're going into the holiday season, if you're not keeping people's attention, everybody else in the world, at least everybody in your market, is trying to get that customer's attention and keep it. It's when we run the shopping campaigns, we've got a promotion going on right now for retailers, but it's actually the way that we've always run shopping campaigns. We also run brand name campaigns so that if somebody goes and types your name in, they can find you. And we also run remarketing campaigns. Well, email is just it's the old school version of remarketing, right? Before there were pixels that tracked people all over the web and let you deliver ads, you could still send people email, right? And remarketing makes it less necessary for a lot of businesses to be so aggressive about getting email addresses. But if somebody's been your customer, or if they've taken the time to give you the email address and you can deliver value to them in their inbox every week along with a promotion, it's easy. This is the thing. So one of the things, and this is actually a little bit of a swipe from my presentation that I gave at the Practical E-commerce event a couple weeks ago. And it was about testing, because testing is very much a long-term thing, right? So I wanted to just clear anybody that thinks that split testing is going to make you more money tomorrow. Well, there's a 50-50 chance probably that it's going to lose you money tomorrow, right? Split testing is about growing in the long term. So, the joke is if you need to send money today, send an email. But, I mean, it's also not a joke. I mean, seriously, if you need to make more sales fast, sending email to your customers and offering to sell them something is absolutely a way that you can make more money. We had a couple of retailers last year that really embraced this, and they went with the super easy version of email marketing, which is all they did was take their top 5. They both did the same thing because I was just talking to them on a group conference call. But all they did was just take their top 5, and I think one of them only did 3. But they take their top selling products from the last week, put in an email that these are the most popular holiday gift ideas, and send out an email with the product description, a picture, and a link. That's it. And 11% more sales for one of them, and the other one was a little bit more. But I mean, even if you can only get 5% more sales by sending email on a regular basis to your customers, that's 5% more sales, and you didn't have to pay, Google for a click, and you didn't have to. I mean, what's the calculation on ROI on email that you sent? Well, how much did the time it took cost to send it, and how much did I make in sales? And do look at attribution modeling. If you start mailing again tomorrow, or if you've been mailing and you're not sure that you're making money on it, go into the attribution model, make sure that your links in your email are tagged so that you know when people come in by email, and then look and see how much more you actually make after the email that isn't attributed to the email. Because even emails with proper analytics tagging on the links are still going to make more sales than you can see just from the direct attribution there. So if you need to make money today, send an email. If you need to make money slower, you can actually do, and a lot of people do this. So mailing once a week, great. Go ahead and mail twice a week. What you do is split your list in half and come up with 2 different emails. So if you want to have an office pool or a betting pool, and everybody gets to bet on which email is going to make the most money, and then you send the top 2. So segment your list, split it in half, send both of those emails so that you can do a test instead of fighting about whose opinion is right. And then whichever one makes the most email money for you the first time, that's the one you send out. So send a mail on Tuesday, and whichever one of them makes the most sales, then you send that one again to everybody on Friday, and you're gonna make more money. Or you could just send 2 emails and flip them and split them, and you'd still make more money than you would have made by mailing once, because you mailed twice. On Friday, the mail just has to say, in case you missed it, ... in the subject line. And guess what? People have to open that, because fear of missing out is, I think, Leslie, the most powerful selling force in the universe. In this world where people spend literally 24 hours a day on Twitter, sometimes fear of missing out is just like, you might miss out on something. Oh my God, I have to open that email. It's gotten to be an even stronger effect than it used to be. Of course, if you want to grow in the long term, get more customers, get more buyers engaged, and actually do content marketing and stuff like that to build an audience. So, Leslie, I really don't want to. Wasn't trying to do a super long presentation, but I do want to let you explain what this is, because this is something that we just added to our content marketing service.
Oh,
and,
yes,
and it's also something that the way that you've set this up to work is really super cool. So I was actually talking to a prospective client who I'm pretty sure is going to be at least a shopping client and maybe a client for a lot of other things earlier today. It's a cool company. They've got a cool brand that they've built entirely through social engagement and content marketing, by the way, over the last few years. And now after they're doing 7 figures in sales every year, now they're starting to look at paid advertising as a way to extend what they've been able to do through social. But this kind of stuff is the exact kind of email marketing that they do. And the way that you've set this up is all of the content actually goes to the blog, which for our content marketing clients, there's always a blog. And half the time, I think we're hosting the blog just to make sure the thing is set up right and working. But the content goes in the blog, and then the email newsletter comes out of that.
Yep, and if anyone who's on LinkedIn, LinkedIn does something similar. It's LinkedIn Pulse is what they call it, and they send out essentially curated elements from LinkedIn. We're doing the same thing, very similar, right? Similar concept at least. We take the 15 items that we did for clients during the week, and over the weekend, a process runs that pulls that content from RSS feeds, formats it into a mobile responsive email theme. I have to mention that because of the amount of work that took.
Yeah.
And then sends that out Monday morning. This particular one, that's a real client story, which I always try to lead off with the best story possible. For our clients, if they're not doing feature content, then it ends up being the promoted commentary for that week.
Whichever piece of content we promoted during the week, which will be the one that
has an image. Yeah, and
has an image and got the most engagement from Facebook audience and stuff like that. So we kind of have a feature story at the top, and then we have the abstracts as news from around the web, and that's just links to stuff around the web, and that's more of just a value add thing. It doesn't really do anything to drive traffic to us. But then we also have all the other commentary stories that we did, and we do it one every day of the week, and so there'll be either 4 or 5 of those depending on whether they had any feature posts. But the coolest thing, the slickest thing, and I should probably well, gosh, I should have screen captured it, but the way that you did this, well, actually everybody that's on this webinar is on our mailing list, and so would have gotten one this Monday. Yep. And you can see there's a promotion down at the bottom, and I think it just it's something Leslie wrote the copy, so I don't know exactly what it is, but it's something like, would you like an email newsletter like this for your business? Well, you should have something like this for your business, right? But that promotion also just gets pulled from a category on the blog. And I know a lot of you, out there like to write, promotions and product ads and stuff like that and stick them on your blog. And we, for years we've been yelling, no, that's not content. Well, this actually lets you do that. You can write those to your heart's content. You just have to put them in a category for promotions, and then this will go and pull the most recent promotion and stick it into the email. Which that was to me that was the thing that I thought was super awesome, because I've got a couple of clients that I'm working with, and actually on doing email promotions with them this Christmas, just because it's just people I've known forever that trust me to write their email copy for them. But the cool thing is when we get them up on this system, and they're content marketing clients, so it'll be easy to do. I'll be able to just write their email copy as a blog post, hit publish, and then I'm done for the week. Indeed. I don't have to figure out how to send that email. I don't have to log into a million different Aweber or Constant Contact or whatever the heck they're using, or in some cases their back office inventory management system is also how they send email. You don't have to screw with that. You just put the stuff in there. Now, Leslie, before anybody asks, because somebody's going to ask, hey, can I just use this system and get like the email sent out. At this point, no. We are not at the state with the technology where it was something we could expose to anybody that isn't a content marketing client. But it's something right now that we're just rolling out to our content marketing clients. But if you want an idea of what should I be sending, if you're publishing any content at all for your audience, just send that out with a little bit of a light promotion to it, and you'll be better off than if you hadn't sent any email at all.
Now, do campaign track everything. That's
Yes.
the other thing we're doing here is that the blog posts themselves, all of the links in this, all of the titles for those posts are, of course, links back to the post, but they're campaign tracked.
And by the way,
campaign, as is the promotion at the bottom.
Yeah, and that's important because one of the leading indicators that tells us, are we going to see? This chart right on here is an SEO client, right? Content marketing client. So, but one of the things that kind of leading indicators that tells us that we're looking at a chart that's going to grow like this is that there's more engagement, more interaction. And so one of the reasons why we're doing the email marketing for our content marketing clients isn't, we didn't start this as, hey, well, gosh, we'll insert promotions in there and they'll make more sales. That's nice, and we'd like them to make more sales out of it. But the reason why we wanted to make sure that we could do it is let's get the content out and continue to engage with the audience, because that means more people engage with the website, more people clicking links, more people sharing, more people liking, more people engaging with us on Facebook and everywhere else. And of course, more people, clicking the ads on the blog posts and more people buying stuff. But from the SEO perspective, what we're really focused on is trying to drive those leading indicators in the content marketing side that tell us that we're going to be able to turn that into a lot more organic traffic. And that's eventually that's more revenue. This one, I love this one because it's double. Right, double the number of sessions, and we actually end up with a lower bounce rate, and people actually spending more time on the site, which is all good things that tell you that you're reaching the right people. But even if you're not going to put promotions in there, even if you want to just do this for for SEO purposes, if you don't sell anything at all, and you just maybe put ads on the site, I don't know, you should be sending email even if you're not a retailer.
And by the way, not for nothing, but every time we mail to our house list, we get more new leads to file. So you have to think that through for a second to realize what's going on.
Well, it comes from their friends and stuff, doesn't it?
Yep, it's forwarded emails. And so imagine if you see, let's say that you get this email, it says SEO is dead, not, and you forward it to somebody who, maybe you were having an argument about whether SEO is dead. Suddenly that person's clicked through the site and discovers something else that they may like on our site, and boom, they become a new lead to file. So every time that we mail, we get new leads to file.
Well, the person I talked to this morning that's signing up for shopping ads, a friend of theirs sent them a link by Facebook Messenger after getting the email forwarded from somebody else. Nice. And then he ended up on the blog post and actually booked an appointment with me through a comment that I made in response to somebody who had questions about the service. And so,
we might have to work on
the thing about content marketing is doing more of it and reaching more people. It's easy once you've created the content. Obviously, you and Corey have come up with this process where it's literally cheaper than a minimum wage employee to get all the content done and get all this stuff done. But even if folks don't have somebody to do content marketing for them, if you've got anything to say at all, and for retailers, we sell stuff on the internet, come buy some, is better than not mailing anything.
Better than nothing at all. That's a true statement. And in fact, the other thing is that all these things work together, which is the blog post I've been working on. I need to push out, but and that particular one, let me go look at the blog right to get this updated. But before was it that one or the next one that got more than 300 shares on Facebook?
Well, the last one was definitely more than that. I think it's. I don't know if it's the SEO is not dead or SEO is dead not.
Yeah, I know. Right.
Borat grammar doesn't work for me, but I'm sure it is just fine on the internet, because on the internet,
it's reverse Polish notation.
On the internet, nobody even knows the difference between there, and there. So
there's that. Yeah.
So you're fine on the internet, but if you actually wanted to send this email in the real world, you would probably want to check on that. But so the last thing I wanted to make sure I got in here is because I promised I would tell people one weird trick And obviously that was a little bit of a joke because it's not really all that weird. But if you're going to be mailing every week, you should also be promoting that on Facebook, and it's really easy to do. So you can upload your email list to Facebook as a custom audience, as a Facebook advertiser, that is. You can put the email on your website. So for example, this one here, this SEO is dead not, that's actually a blog post that people can link to, right? So we don't want to send the email out on Facebook. What we want to do is take that money piece that we're trying to drive people to. So there's a page on your website. You put that link on your Facebook page. As a post, you probably want to make the copy a little bit better than whatever the default is. If the image that they pull in is the wrong image, pick a better image to use. And then you can right there on your Facebook page, boost your Facebook post, and heck, just boost it to that custom audience that you uploaded, which is the people that you emailed to. So what happens when you send your email to your list is that people are going to see that in their inbox. They're going to see that ad on Facebook. Or they're going to see the ad on Facebook and they're going to see that in their inbox. And what does that do? That just doubled repetition there, right? Repetition is the key to making this kind of marketing effective. And two of the retailers that we work with, so one of them down under in Australia, one of them in the United States, both of them saw greater than 30% sales lift every time they did this. Every single time. So for one that stuck with it, and for the other one that they've kind of been off and on because they're weird about how they have to deal with Facebook because of stupid trademark stuff that I don't want to get into. But literally, in both cases, every single email that they boosted, they had at least a 30% increase in sales. And one of them, we didn't split test, but it was literally 3 times the sales that they had made the week before, which they hadn't boosted when they started doing this. So I'm going to never claim that you'll triple your email sales by boosting to Facebook, because that is implausibly large. That had to also be a very good offer that caused people to go. But every single time, we're 30% better than we ever were.
Well, in fact, the post that I was thinking of that got 305 shares was the one about double your traffic on demand. That deals directly with mailing every week. And in that particular case, each one of those was boosted the way you're describing here.
Yeah. And in fact, the one that I sent out the other day about the first part of this presentation, just the part about shopping ads, that one we also just boosted to our mailing list. So the people that got the email were the only people that saw the ad on Facebook, and the engagement on that is ridiculously good, and it's ridiculously cheap to do that. Talking to people that already know you and like you, where you're going to get good engagement as long as the content actually matches, right, is relevant to their interests. The result that you get for the money that it costs, I mean, the time cost of us doing it was actually more than the ad spend, because it took Michelle like 20-30 minutes to set it up.
Right, but I mean, the impact wasn't just in terms of traffic, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
It was more than 20% increase. I mean, so again, we campaign track that as well. And so, campaign track the email, campaign track the boost to Facebook, and then you in analytics, you can tease out, how much you're getting from each one of those channels.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those ones where you want to look at the attribution model thing, especially for the traffic from Facebook, because I know people that do. I mean, their whole business runs on Facebook advertising, but if they use last click attribution in analytics for their Facebook traffic, and this is where all their business comes from, half the sales disappear into direct, and that's the only thing they do to get traffic is run ads on Facebook.
Yeah. And we have an AdWords client just like that, where hey, where'd all this direct come from? They couldn't possibly know your multisyllabic.
Yes, this is actually the only way that you generate traffic. Where the traffic is coming from. Yeah. So
Anyway, all right. Yeah. So that's actually 3 + 1 things you should do.
Yes, but of course, it's just one weird trick, one extra step to do when you are sending email.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So we'll call it 3.5. Yeah.
3 and change.
Yeah, there we go. Right.
So anyway, on any of these things, if you'd like to get help, you can send me an email and just let me know what tickled your brain. Let me know where your website is, and we'll take it from there, and we'll talk. we'll figure out if there's something we can do to help you, or if maybe there's just stuff that you need to do to help yourself, and we aren't actually a good fit as a business partner. That's fine. We're happy to talk either way.
Yeah, good, excellent. And I guess everyone is completely stunned, or they're already so busy with the holidays that that their brain is no longer active because we're not getting any questions. So why don't we, while people are considering whether or not they have questions or not, because now would be the time in the program where you should be asking questions. So for next week, maybe we should talk about email in some depth.
I think you should actually walk through kind of the whole story of that email thing that you've got set up, Leslie. So show people, how the content gets created, right? Where do we figure out what we're going to write about? Every single day, over and over, day in and day out, right? Who writes it? Where does that stuff go? Because it goes to Facebook, goes to Google Plus, goes to LinkedIn, and all these different places. Goes into the blog. Show people what the blog looks like, and then show them what the resulting email looks like, so they can kind of see what the shape of an entire campaign is.
Sure.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, let's do that. That's a good idea.
I think part of it, we don't have quite as much of a big of a room today because, of course, we switched from Tuesday to Thursday. So some of our addicts who I won't say addicts, but our devoted friends that are here for us week in and week out, I notice aren't here, and so maybe a little bit of rejiggering of their schedule might be in order, because for us, doing this on Tuesday is just was absolutely insane, and so not killing ourselves so that we can give you a better product on Thursday, I think is an ongoing long-term decision that we're already firmly committed to.
Yeah. So okay. So next up then for next week, Don says, "Thanks for great presentations." Thanks for saying so.
Thank you, Don.
And not a question, but we always love praise because we're just needy like that. So next week we'll go into email marketing. We'll talk about email marketing, but of course that's the kind of the pointy end of the spear. The shaft behind it, is actually
a stick.
It's a stick, yes. And so we have to beat them with something, and it's the stick. Anyway, so we'll talk about how what the whole campaign looks like, right? So here's a week of content, how it gets created, where it goes, and then how does that weekly digest come out on a Monday morning? So we'll talk
now,
about
Leslie, have we figured out the tech on how to actually do the weekly digest blog post yet? I mean, I know that's coming, but have we got that going yet, or could we maybe make an example? Because I think that's one of the coolest things that again, right? We're taking content that you've invested in and then repurposing it. That's actually something that I think the problem with it right now is just that we don't want to recursively remail the same thing to people, so the entire weekly email is a link to all the last weekly emails, which themselves only link to weekly emails. And
it would be the email equivalent of the Hall of Mirrors. Yes.
Yes, it'd be like a maze of twisty little passages.
No, we have, and the problem was specifically for those clients who are not doing feature content of their own, which is sad to say the majority. We'd like everybody to do one feature post a week.
However, better than not doing content marketing at all, better than not building an audience. But certainly, we would like people to either have us find a writer to do feature content for you, or do that feature content yourself. Yeah,
indeed. However, no. But to answer your question, yes, I did figure out a trick that will work for all of our clients across the board. It's a one-size-fits-all tweak to our existing process.
Yes.
So that we can actually.
It was an easy, high-impact win that will help every client we have make more sales during the holidays. And so getting to Dan's perfect SEO scenario of all the SEO goodness we could wring out of it wasn't quite as important as this was like a 3-week project from sort of start to finish for you to deploy this tech. So.
Well, I mean, we've been working on it for, 6 months, but in terms of just getting the email format done.
But the implementation of the technical stuff, that's actually usually when you work on tech stuff, it takes a little bit longer than that, just because you're a very careful person. So either like we lucked out and found some really good tools this time that we didn't have to reject, the first 5 tools that we found and because they weren't good enough, but whatever. I mean, just fantastic work, Leslie, because it's going to help a lot of people make more sales, this season, and you managed to get it done before the end of September. So beautiful.
Yeah, thanks for that. I mean, and we are actually even this weekend changing the platform we're using, by the way. The first one is good, but it's not perfect.
And that's more about the emails are good, but the tracking links don't work the way we want them to.
It mangles the ampersands.
Removing one third party from the equation.
So it's kind of a problem there. I mean, we got to have the tracking working. So
now it's just our platform and Amazon to send the email.
That's correct. Yep. Everything based on Amazon SES. So just about the best, most reliable platform you could ever ask for. Thank you, Jeff Bezos and his team. They, I bow down to those guys. I mean, as a technical person, it's like, wow, awesome.
Well, the thing about Amazon, it's, a lot of companies talk about developing a service oriented architecture, but Amazon was so focused on that, they've actually been able to deploy that cloud platform to anybody out there to be able to use. I know we're going to be doing more mailing through Amazon just because the cost of doing that is so low relative to the other options that we have, and they do all of the deliverability stuff, DKIM, whatever that stands for, but digital key in
domain keys. Just moving on.
Domain keys. Okay, right, because that was a Yahoo brand name, and so nobody liked that, so they had to call it DKIM instead. But Amazon does all the deliverability stuff, so you should be able to. I mean, if you're worried about, gosh, I don't want to send through Amazon because that might be thought of as spam. No, I mean, Amazon does a good job making sure that the big thing with deliverability is the domain that the email claims to be from actually the domain it was sent from, and Amazon verifies that. So that satisfies most of the requirements. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah.
Now we're getting technical and boring, Leslie. We should.
Yeah, I think so. We should. Yeah, call it. Call it done, and we'll see everybody next Thursday at 3 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. And we're going to be talking about email marketing for the holidays, because the deal is, even by next Thursday, if you came on board right away, we could have you all set up and running with a content stream by Halloween. Now, not much later than that, right? If you don't come in next week, then that's kind of...
You got a week or maybe a week and change, and then we're not going to be able to be running by Halloween. And if we're not running, by Thanksgiving, it's still good for SEO, but it's not going to make a big difference in holiday sales. You really want to you really do want to be in people's mailbox before Thanksgiving. After, will you still make some sales? Sure, you'll want to keep mailing. I mean, don't stop mailing, but to get the biggest impact, you want to be there and as top of mind as you can get away with before Halloween rolls around, and definitely before Cyber Monday rolls around. So,
indeed. All right. Hot dog.
Time is of the essence, folks.
Yeah, indeed it is. Holidays are coming. So yeah, make some money while it's time to make money. So thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week for another hangout with Brain Trust. Take care.
Thanks everybody.